Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a very warm day in the canyons. It's going to be a very fun, interesting discussion about something I've never driven, haven't seen in a long time, because they didn't sell that many of them, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this is Acura. How
you doing,
Thank
Zach?
you very much for driving out. You came from Vegas, which is very, very far, but you came to a very nice place to drive and enjoy your car. So it's not a bad day. So this is a 96 Infiniti G20T.
That's correct.
Right? A lot of you may not know what that is, or a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, that's the Sentra. It's not. We'll get to that too. But tell us a little bit about why you bought this and what you've done to it.
So I bought it because it was a small, compact, daily driver type of vehicle that I can modify. It's something I wanted to do for many years. They came stock with 140 horsepower. It now has an SR20 VE motor, Japanese spec motor with N1 cams, a short ratio, 5-speed out of the Pulsar, and makes 180 horsepower, 140 pound-foot of torque.
Very nice. And it weighs 2,600 pounds, you said?
2,800 pounds and revs to 8,200 RPMs.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very cool. That's cool. Good screamer. And 2,800 pounds today is fairly light.
Yeah.
But back then, like you've said, the Sentra and other cars in that particular category weighed just over 2, really.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so what have you done? So you pulled the motor, or you swapped the motor, you swapped the transmission from a Pulsar. If you guys don't know what a Pulsar GTI is, look it up. It's amazing. It's like a tiny, tiny hatchback that has all-wheel drive and an SR20, which just seems magical. What about suspension, strut braces, those kinds of things?
So suspension, they're running Fortune 500 coilovers, front control arms, rear control arms. It's running 2.8 degrees of camber in the front, 2.2 in the rear. So the suspension's been set up pretty properly. I like the way it is out of the box. Pretty solid package. So I'm interested to hear your opinion on the handling.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got a great stance to it. It's a little bit low
That's
for LA.
The mini trucker in me. Sorry, I'm a closeted mini trucker, so everything is low.
Oh, so you don't have the Lambo doors because then people would know that you're a mini trucker.
Yes.
You're a closeted mini trucker. That's very funny.
That's why that bash guard's on the front.
That's why there's like 4 subwoofers in the trunk. There's
Correct.
not. Yeah, it has a skid plate, which is amazing. Especially because you said it was hard to find suspension components for this car, and then you found a skid plate for it. I guess is there a big Baja market for the?
Well, you got to know the right people. The Nissan community goes deep, so you got to get in there and kind of hunt those things down.
All right, we're gonna take it for a ride. They're doing a little bit of work on the road down below us. We'll be turning around down there. The seats already feel great. These are like that old school Recaro design, simple, bolstered. Switch
on the door handle.
There it is. I say that because BMW, they're in the middle, and
they're actually, the rest are in the middle in the center console here, like a BMW.
Very well. That's who they were gunning for with this car, right? They were trying to crack into the entry-level luxury market,
right?
Okay, so first impressions, the handling feels great.
Thank you.
Grip feels really good. Well, West End, if you don't know, is one of the best alignment shops in the country. They are just legendary for their setups. They're not really expensive. They're like a wonderfully run business. Okay, throws from third to second. There's a large distance between the gates, but the throw distance is not that big. I can't believe this goes to 82, and your tack only goes to 7.
Yeah.
That's got to be weird to get used to. Is like revving well past indicated red line.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that too. It just looks like it's not going to work out. Your steering feel could be a lot better. I'll be honest about that. Like the front end, the visibility is amazing because this is before they really cared about pedestrians, I think.
Right.
So we have this super low hood that really drops away from the windscreen. Yeah, we're gonna turn around here. I mean, this almost, like cars today, the only thing that'll have visibility like this is a mid-engine car. Or maybe like a Tesla Model 3 because they don't have an engine in the front.
Yeah, we try to get the best out of the steering. The entire rack is rebuilt, and it's got a urethane bushing on it as well. We try to tighten it up. You might feel that.
Oh, there it is. You talked about this before. There was a little vibration.
Yeah.
Which you said was from aftermarket axles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we believe it is. So
axles.
we're trying to source some OEM axles at some point down the road.
Down a little bit.
And then swap those in and see if they resolve the issue.
All right. So full throttle, third gear. It's climbing. This has a VVL. It's like their VTEC system, right?
Correct.
Variable valve lift. Where does it come on with this new engine?
I believe it's right around 5,500.
Okay, I'm not there yet. The balance going around the turn is really nice. It feels really even. It sets only a slight bit. It doesn't lean a ton, which is really confidence inspiring, especially on a road like this. I mean, we're keeping really good speed, and it feels so comfortable doing it. This is a weird car, right? They were trying to crack into BMW's territory, Lexus territory. Well, Lexus didn't have a compact car at this point, and these didn't sell very well. And there's a lot of really good articles about why. Jack Ruth wrote a good one about trying to sell them. Jason Torchinski of Jalopnik wrote a hilarious Man Car Monday about them. And I think they were kind of accurate. You know, at the time, if you're trying to sell an expensive car and you're trying to launch a brand, it's got to either turn people on or just get amazing reviews, right? The LS400 just got amazing reviews. It was super engineered, and so that's what helped it succeed. And the BMW was like, well, they had brand cachet, and it drove great.
Yeah. So I always watched racing, and back in the day I watched JTCC and BTCC, which is British Touring Car Series, and the Primera, which is the same chassis, was racing. So that's how I learned about the G20s and saw the potential that you can get out of them. So I had to have one.
No, you're totally right. Everyone makes the mistake that this is a Sentra, but it's based on the Primera, which is very popular in Europe, wasn't sold here. And all the reviews from back then, while they said that this car, it wasn't that nice inside for the price, it was too expensive for everything. And selling an entry-level luxury car is hard because you're trying to get new people into a brand that don't have a ton of money. So you have to make a cheaper product. But by doing that, you may take away the things that people seek in luxury cars, right?
Right.
Where was I? I had a point where I was headed to. But all the reviews, they complimented the driving really, really well. They were like, this is a wonderful driving car, and no one talks about it.
Right. It was,
I can't believe you have 1,000 more RPMs after that. Whoa, the turn-in is really good.
Yeah.
It's super eager in the front. Not too eager, just zip right around. And your steering rack, the ratio speed is really nice. Wow, that is really fun.
Right?
That's really fun, man. Just felt like my ear's about to come out just the other side. Now I understand why this GT4 was going slow. He's trying to give space to this really speedy, what's that, Benz up front.
a diesel Benz, no less.
Well, it's keeping surprising speed for a diesel Benz. This guy is smart. I'll go past him a little bit. Okay, so when you got this car stock, you got it for what, $400, something like that?
Yeah, $2,400.
Okay, that's an amazing deal for a car that has such a good chassis and is also going to be very reliable. Considering they were selling for $25,000 when they were new, and then what did you not like about it when you bought it and you immediately wanted to fix?
Well, ironically, I've had one just like this before when I lived in New York, forest green, black leather, manual, and I never built it. I sold it to a friend, and then when I saw this one on Craigslist in South Seattle, I just had to get my hands on it and try to build it. And then after I got my hands on it, it already had a newer roller rocker motor from a newer Sentra, and so on. So the first thing I looked up was suspension. Was just to tighten up the suspension, replace all the bushings and so on, and then through kind of trolling people on Instagram, I found Juan Ramirez, who's a guy that's really tight in the Nissan community, and he was very helpful to share all the information with me about the motor, the transmission package, suspension options, and so on. And then pretty much the hunt started to find all of those hot rod parts, because they don't make them anymore. They're not new. We had to hunt them down.
And how many did they make back in the day? Like, how big was the aftermarket for the Q20, right? It had to be small. Even, the Primera was racing and whatnot, but if it's not a car that's campaigned in racing and then really popular for aftermarket support, it's probably going to be more specialty parts.
Yeah.
It's really funny that, you told me the story before we started, just how long you had to look and the ways you had to look for parts for this car. It's not like a Civic where they've been, everyone's been hot rodding them for like 20, 30 years straight.
Right.
And there's 1,000 companies that build like the same end link basically, but with a couple variations. This was,
right.
All right, let's see what $8,000 sounds like. And there we go. It's like 7,900. You have fuel cut.
Yeah.
Oh, it comes on cam right there.
Yeah.
That was 6,100. That was such a distinct moment for the cam lift to change. It was bah. You can carry so much wonderful speed in this vehicle. This is how you want a front-wheel drive car to feel. It really is. I know I haven't found the limit yet, which is totally fine with me and you. But you said earlier, like, if it does step out, it used to be a little wobbly. You dropped it an inch.
Yeah.
And if it does step out, the first thing that goes is the back.
Is the back, right?
And that's perfect. That's what you want. I wish.
But I'm super surprised by these Firestone Firehawks. They hold up really well.
How long have you had them?
These are brand new, since 6 months old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a really fun. What's great about the used car market is, this car was very expensive when it came out. You bought it for the reasons people liked it. People liked how it drove. They didn't like where it sat in the market and how much it cost. And once it drops down to $2,000, you're looking at this. You could buy a Civic. You could buy like a Beat Integra. You've got a lot of good front-wheel drive options for fun performance cars. And I bet a lot of people aren't looking at these, which, is kind of cool. It's cool to have something different, and it's good to have something different that isn't sacrificing the enjoyment of driving it.
Right. Like I had mentioned before, a lot of the Nissan community, a lot of Nissan guys that, built Sentras or G20s back in the day and so on, they still hold on to these parts. So that's how I was able to find them, is like get in contact with those guys.
I'm flat through the corner early. There's Cam coming on. Man, it's a fun sound. The last time I saw one of these that I can remember is a friend's dad owned one in high school. And they lived up a very twisty road where I learned to drive. And I think his dad let us drive it once, which was very wise of him to only let us drive it once. And it was such an amazing car, because at the time we were both driving cars from the 60s. Right. So we had these boats that leaned over a ton. And then we get something like this, good grip, good balance, all that stuff. And for some reason, it didn't stick in my brain that front-wheel drive cars could be really great. It took many more years for that to really kick in, which is my fault. But they're fantastic. They're really fun. You can learn a lot about driving in them.
Yeah, I think they provide a good cushion of safety.
Yes, absolutely. Like so you've done Lemons a couple times. I've done it once. I did it in a Civic, and when it was step out on the S's at Sonoma, it was very easy to catch, and you could just point your wheel that the way you wanted to go, floor the gas, and it would sort it out, which is good. If you have a rear-wheel drive car and you do that, you might loop it, and it's not as fun. Like, you can't do burnouts and you can't go drifting, but if you want to get good at driving, there's nothing wrong with these. And if you want to have fun driving, they're fantastic. Yeah, I've definitely come around, and this is really fun. This is set up really well. I can see. You said the suspension's a little stiff, and if we were on a really cracked up road,
Yeah.
that might be an issue. But man, right here, this is perfect. This is perfect, and it has enough torque and power. I mean, it's a very flowy road, but I've been in third gear for most of this trip, just sitting between 5 and 8,000 RPM, and I have not been wanting to downshift. Like
Yeah, the short throw 5-speed out of the that is doing all of that work there, and it has an LSD on it as well.
That's right. So the Q20, came in 3 flavors. Like it's the regular 20, the T, which was touring, which is what this is, and I think the Sport.
Correct.
Or was it the no?
It was just basically. I
luxury.
understood them as 2 models, just the base model and then the T model. The T model came with an LSD, fog lights, and a rear wing.
And then you could add the moonroof. I think.
And then you could
it
add
had like 2 options because 90s, and we only had 2 things we really made besides the car. It was
Big option package.
Yeah, big option package. You could get they could cut some of the roof off, and they could maybe change the stereo. It's not like today where you can get there's your skid plate.
Yeah.
The car's very low, so now I know why you have it. It's such a weird thing.
How was that experience, though?
It was great, dude. I'm pumped up now. I'm energized. That was fun. The seats do a phenomenal job, which I expected they would when I got in, just because, these are. It's like they got seats right a long time ago. I feel like now.
Copy Recaros, they're nice.
They do. Some companies still get it right, but a lot of companies they just add a lot of like shapes and things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily fit as well as this does. It's just simple. It's correct. Human body hasn't changed that much. It's so funny that like when you get in this car, it doesn't look fancy, right?
Nope.
Because
Plain Jane.
it's very plain, which they did not want it to be at the time.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the manufacturing technology we do now. We didn't have a lot of the materials we do now. That's why I laugh. I try to point out in the interior shots like this, the contour, other things from the 90s, everything's kind of round because they couldn't like print the hard edges out of plastic, or maybe it wasn't cost effective. So you kind of had a smaller box to play in as far as design goes. And I think the problem with this car when they were trying to sell it is you can really tell. Like you get in this, and I looked at this and Integras last night doing research, because Integra's a front-wheel drive car, Japanese company, super reliable, etc. And I wanted to see how different they were in terms of like luxury appearance inside. It's really not that much,
No, really not that much.
But so that's why they didn't sell back then. But it doesn't mean the chassis is not good, and it doesn't mean you can't have a really good time with it.
Very
so
true.
you've taken someone's trash, and you're like, yeah, thank you.
Give me that.
Very cheap. This drives great.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's real fun.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you got a chance to drive it. Love that I got your opinion out of it, and I love that it's just a solid package.
It's a very solid package. I think the brakes grab great. The fuel is good on those. I like the gearing. It's perfect, I think, for canyon stuff.
Yeah.
Ergonomics are fine. Actually, this feels very BMW-like as far as the height of everything goes. Clutch take-up is immediate, super immediate. The only thing that's a bummer is like the steering feel. It's pretty light for how talkative and how good the rest of the car is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could add more steering or change steering bushings or rebuild the steering rack, and that might help, or maybe it is what it is.
I think it is what it is. I mean, I do feel it too sometimes. I'm going to try to figure out if there's other options in there to get a little bit more feel into that, but I think it's because it's fully rebuilt and it's got a urethane bushing on it already. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if maybe switching out that bushing for another one will give a little bit more feel to it.
Yeah, it might just be it is what it is. Like people talk about with BMWs, the racks from the E36s are pretty crappy, and you can swap in E30 racks, and some of it is like the ratio, and some of it is actually the shaft diameter. Like there's all these tiny things,
minute details
that add up, and even the rebuilt ones that people sell are not as good as OEM, because if they change like 1 or 2 things in there, it doesn't work. But
a Sentra box might be a good option. I don't know if you've driven a Sentra SER before.
Haven't. Email me if you have one. I have not. I've heard
I
good
have
things.
one for you.
You do?
I do.
Oh, you want to drive back from Vegas? Go get it.
We'll get you a Sentra.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you know all the people.
Yes,
you know all the people.
I know all the people.
You know all the people. All 7 Q20 owners out there. You know them. Well, this was real fun.
I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, Zach.
I'm trying to not trying to preach to everybody, but don't make the mistake I did and think that front-wheel drive cars are not awesome for driving, especially if you're going to be your first or second car, or even if you wanted a daily. It's an affordable, economical, reliable daily, and it still is really fun. You can have all those things.
This thing got 28 miles to the gallon coming here from Vegas
With the short ratio box.
with the short ratio box.
That's amazing. Well, it's a very slippery shape, so I don't doubt it. This was really fun. I don't know what else to say. Now I'm all charged up with adrenaline. So check out the podcast. We do it twice a week. Join us in Super Chat, ask the questions. Look at our Blip Shift page for new awesome t-shirts. They're soft. They look cool. We have funny slogans. We do new ones a lot. And keep watching the videos. And that's it. Drive safe.
Bye-bye.